Hello guys, welcome to today's video. The objective of this video is not to help you get a PhD or deep dive into what is happening in the gaming industry or why Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard or why Zynga was acquired recently. Okay, the objective of this video is to help young professionals, students understand a bit more about what is happening in the gaming industry. There are a lot of articles out there. Probably this is an attempt to simplify that articles and also give you the relevant information for you so that it will help you with two things. Number one, it can help you crack an interview. Okay, if you're applying for an investment banking job or a consulting job, you probably will get a few ideas from this entire video. Or number two, if you are having networking conversations with the folks across these fields, or if you're having some conversation with a Microsoft professional or somebody from the gaming industry, this would be a very relevant conversation for you. Okay, so that said, let's jump right into the video. We are going to divide this video into three parts. Number one, we'll talk a bit about the gaming industry itself. Number two, we'll talk about the acquisition of Zynga. And number three, we'll talk about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. So let us jump right away into the first part and understand, what is the gaming industry right now like? Okay, so if you say the gaming industry, I want to talk about three things. One is the trends in the industry. Number two, the revenue aspect, and number three, the cost aspect. Well, of course, these things will help you in the interviews if you think about it this way. If you look at the trends are very clearly indicating that the entire gaming ecosystem is moving from the console gaming, right, which is your Xbox, PlayStation, Wii, so on, to your mobile gaming, right? In fact, this console gaming growth rate, or it is declining at 6.3% per annum, whereas the mobile growth rate is around 7 to 7.5% per year. That is, if you start with 100 folks, the folks who are playing mobile games is now increasing every year to like 107, whereas the console gaming, the numbers are falling down to 94 and 93. That is a super powerful number, right? The difference that it is gradually increasing year after year after year. So you can see how many folks would be playing mobile games in a few years versus how many folks are actually playing console games. Okay, now that's the first thing that you need to keep in mind. With respect to revenue, the trends that are coming up in the revenue space are also pretty interesting. Number one, it was game purchase. Over the last decade, the entire revenue model for the gaming companies like Activision, Zynga, or let me tell you even more simplified names, right, like a Call of Duty, Candy Crush Saga, the games revenue channels have changed quite a bit. Initially, these games were like, you purchase a game for like $30, $40, and then you can play it on your Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, or even on your mobile. But now this is changing to in-game purchase. That is, you get the game for free, but for you to continue or cross some difficult levels, I mean, of course, we all would know Candy Crush Saga, right? If you fail at a particular level, you probably can get some support by, let's say, purchasing something for 20 rupees or 30 rupees or 100 rupees, right? So that is what is happening across almost all the games. Initially, Call of Duty was sold for $60. Now it is coming with a subscription plan of like $10, $8, $20, so on and so forth. You can buy Call of Duty points for $10. So that is how the revenue streams are changing. So the third stream that I want to talk about is the subscriptions. For example, Xbox Gaming has a subscription service called as Xbox Ultimate. Now you go there, you actually get a game pass for like $1, $2, or $10, and you get access to hundreds of games together. It is becoming more and more like Netflix. And why do you go to Xbox over PlayStation or to some other platform? Because why would you purchase Netflix over Amazon Prime or Amazon Prime over Hotstar? The simple reason is, whichever platform has the best movies, you will go and purchase that particular platform's subscription, right? Even if it is a little on the higher end of the cost. So that is the third revenue stream. We'll talk about it a little more in detail. So the costs in the industry were always like, the publishing and developmental cost of the game itself. And recently, the one which got added to this entire mix is, to a large extent, is your marketing cost. Now, what happens with the marketing cost is that majority of these games are released in the month of November. or even October, right? Because they are gearing up for that entire festival season sale. That is the Black Friday and Christmas seasons, right? If you look at in India, right, like all the big launches happen typically like 1 or like 2 months before the Diwali season, so that hey, folks have a good understanding, the marketing is ramped up and all the stuff goes out into the market, right, by Diwali time. That's the same thing happening over here too. If you think about Call of Duty, if you think about any other game, all these games latest versions come out in the same time frame, exact time frame, that is October and November. So who is winning this race? The one who has the most amount to spend on marketing. So marketing is becoming a huge cost in this perspective. So we talked about the trends, we talked about the revenues, we talked about the costs too. Okay, this gives an insight into how the gaming industry itself is structured. Now let us get into 1 or 2 deals that have happened recently and understand how these dynamics are changing quite well. So why did Take-Two Interactive actually purchase Zynga? We all know Zynga is like one of the most popular games for, hey, Farmville, being present on Facebook for a very, very long time, all that good stuff, right? Now Take-Two Interactive is actually publishing games like Grand Theft Auto, which are exclusively available on either Xbox or PlayStation. Now what is happening, because as we discussed, the Xbox, PlayStation and the console market itself is going down slowly, it is important for Take-Two Interactive to get into the mobile gaming space. And which one is the leader in the mobile gaming space? You guessed it right, it is Zynga, right? But you can't say that, hey, Zynga has mobile gaming capabilities, so I'll probably ask them to develop mobile games for all my existing franchises like Grand Theft Auto, right? But if you look at Zynga's history, in the last few years, Zynga has actually got into a deal with Disney. Zynga is now actually producing mobile games for the Star Wars version. So Disney got into a contract with Zynga to make these games. Now that's a good validation for these guys to make sure that, hey, even these guys also have some games and intellectual property rights over these games, and potentially Zynga's team can convert these into mobile games, right? So that is one big reason why Take-Two Incentive has purchased Zynga for $12.8 billion. That's number one. Now, if you look at the other thing, why Zynga was bought by Take-Two Interactive, right? It's such a big deal. Until a few years back, these kind of deals did not exist, right? There were a lot of deals happening in this particular market, but not of this size. The reason behind this deal was also that, hey, these guys can now cross-sell, right? In the sense that, hey, if somebody is actually playing Farmville, I can probably go and tell them, by the way, Grand Theft Auto is also a great game. Why don't you start playing a free version of this game right now, right? So there are a lot of cross-sell, upsell opportunities. These guys are also claiming that, hey, we'll reduce the overall cost of the game manufacturing itself. And the third thing, of course, it comes is they get a direct entry into the mobile market world. So it makes complete sense for them to purchase this company for $12.8 billion. By the way, it is important to notice that Take-Two Interactive revenues for the last year, FY21, were $3.1 to $3.2 billion, whereas if you look at Zynga's revenues, it was $2.6 to $2.7 billion. So these were already the leading players in this entire gaming industry. And now the first player takes the second player and they combine to become a bigger entity. You can see a lot of monopoly playing out in this space very, very soon, right? So that is one big reason why this entire acquisition makes a lot of sense. Now, if we move into the other acquisition, that is a Microsoft acquiring Activision, that is a different ball game altogether. If you look at Microsoft's financials, Microsoft had roughly $130 billion of cash with it. I'm talking about cash reserves. It had $130 billion of cash sitting empty in its bank account. So it said, okay, I'll purchase Activision for $70 billion or $69 billion in an all cash deal. Nothing is going to happen to Microsoft because its valuation is anyways in trillions. A $60-70 billion bet gone wrong would have no impact on it in the long run. But here is the trick, right? As we discussed in the initial part of the video, Microsoft has a subscription pass, okay, for its Xbox games, and it's for cloud gaming service. Now, as we discussed, why would somebody go and purchase this particular service? Only if it has more and more games. Right? By purchasing Activision Blizzard, what Microsoft has done is, hey, they get exclusive access rights for Call of Duty. They get exclusive access rights for War of Worlds. They'll get exclusive access rights for Candy Crush Saga, right? So these games will slowly start moving only into the Xbox world. So folks who want to play this and who are playing from PlayStation today, they have no option but to move into this Xbox world, right, and start getting that subscription. So the same reason, you will go and purchase that subscription depending on the titles that are available on that particular platform. Mind you, this Xbox Ultimate subscription, which is for $14 or $15 per month, you don't actually have to have a console unit. This is a cloud streaming service. So you can play this game. Hopefully in a few years, you will actually get to play the full versions of these games on your mobiles itself. So that is the beauty. That is one of the biggest reasons. And guess how many customers does Activision have today? Activision has 400 million customers. So it is now getting exclusive rights over 400 million customers, which is a very big deal in this entire gaming industry. That is one of the big reasons for Microsoft to actually go and acquire the Activision Blizzard. Well, yes, there are benefits with respect to having the knowledge and how to jump into the metaverse world in the long run, but the benefits in the short run through this subscription business is also pretty obvious. The other super important thing that Microsoft is also getting through this entire acquisition is Candy Crush Saga, right? Candy Crush Saga is itself acquired by Activision in 2016 for $6 to $7 billion. Now that's such a powerful mobile game. And as we discussed initially that, hey, mobile gaming industry itself is growing. So Microsoft having presence in that particular piece through such a strong franchisee makes a whole lot more sense for them. So they went ahead and also purchased this particular piece of the business. Now you get exclusivity, you get access to top mobile game, you get access to 400 million customers, and also you are owning now some of the top games, and like you are going to build on franchises on top of it, right? Just think for a second, why can't, let's say, Microsoft start going and publishing new games, right? Like Netflix or Amazon, like creating new content. Why should they go buy Activision for such a huge price? Well, Call of Duty first version is released more than 10 years back, and every single year, Call of Duty is now coming up with a different version. So it makes a whole lot more sense to have these worldwide popular franchises under its own umbrella, right? So these are some of the reasons why Microsoft has acquired Activision Blizzard. There are other 100 more reasons, right? Because also they have huge marketing budget that will give them push over other competitors, and Activision would benefit greatly out of these things, right? They already have data through Xbox. They can also cross-sell, upsell, all these things. But if you take a step back, it is very obvious for you now that, hey, understanding the overall industry in terms of industry trends, mobile versus PC gaming, console gaming, or revenues, subscriptions, right? Costs, marketing versus game development. If you understand the overall big picture in the industry, these acquisitions or what is happening in the day-to-day market will make a lot more sense. So start getting that industry overview and then jump into what is happening with respect to the daily news. All right, guys, hope this video made sense to you and hope it will help you crack those interviews and also be a little more intelligent in these interviews. If you want me to make any such kind of videos going forward for different industries, please do let me know in the comments, and please like the video if you like the content. All right, thank you so much guys, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye.